Stories from the Hindu on the Bindu, a Diwali tradition. Written by David Euler, illustrated by Christine Fontanazza. The story of the Hindu on the Bindu. Many years ago, in a beautiful countryside village in India, lived an old man. He was very special and dear to the people who lived there. Every morning at the crack of dawn, when the air was still cool and the sun was just about to show herself, the old man left his house and walked toward the bench at the edge of the woods. It was the same bench he sat on every morning. The old man was a story thinker. Whenever he sat down on that bench and thought of stories, an interesting thing happened. The villagers' mood sprang alive. When he thought of happy stories, the villagers were happy. When he thought of sad stories, the villagers were sad. That is why he only had a few of those. When he thought of scary stories, the villagers felt a little scared. All in all, the old man's stories were well balanced and kept the village people in a good mood, giving them a feeling of well-being. One day, in the middle of the winter, the old man woke up with an unfamiliar feeling. He was scared and a little sad. No story came. The world around him felt empty. The old man was confused, not quite sure of what was happening. He thought if he got up and got dressed, he would feel better. So the old man went about his morning routine and got ready for the day. Still, he felt at a loss. He sat on the edge of his bed, wondering what he should do next. He wished he didn't feel so alone. Suddenly, the old man felt a knock inside his head. A child came to his consciousness. "What is your name?" asked the old man.
"I do not know,"
answered the child. "Well, we shall think of it later," said the old man.
"I felt you were in trouble,"
said the child. "Oh?" replied the old man.
"It became empty up there."
said the child. "Where?" asked the old man.
"Well, in your mind, of course,"
replied the child. "What do you suggest I do?" asked the old man. At that moment, the child popped up in front of the old man, floating on a bright red Bindu. "How did you do that?" asked the old man. His eyes shone as if he recognized the child.
"I emerged from your mind through your forehead on your Bindu,"
grinned the child with a little smile on his face.
"Don't you recognize me? I'm the child within you. I never grew up." "Have you ever written your stories for generations to come?"
asked the child. "No," replied the old man. "I just think of them and tell them to children and adults who come and listen."
"So how do you suppose these stories will keep on living forever?"
asked the child. "Well, maybe they will live in the minds of the children I tell the stories to," said the old man.
"Just like me,"
said the child as he started to smile. As he did, the old man smiled also, and just like magic, the world around him began to smile too.
"Dear old man,"
said the child,
"it is time to write your stories in a magical book so that children and grown-ups around the world will enjoy them and smile forever."
"How do I do it?" asked the old man.
"How about you find two of your favorite listeners and ask them to write your stories as they listen. Then they can illustrate them with colorful and fantastic themes from their imagination. As the stories stream, you can bind them into books and share them with the world,"
replied the child. "That sounds very interesting," said the old man. "But what will happen if I run out of stories?"
My dear old man, as long as you tell your stories, and as long as they are recorded with love and fantasy, your stories will never end,
replied the child. And so, the old man and the child started on a magical tour of fantastic tales. After writing many storybooks, it was time for the old man to pass on. The child and the old man stood in front of each other with a tear of joy and sadness in their eyes. "It's time," said the old man.
Yes, I know,
said the child.
You know I will dissolve.
"Well, my dear friend," said the old man, "you have provided a world in which we can exist forever. You, me, our feelings and hopes will be shared by readers and listeners for many years to come." And so they left this world together, only to enter into the magical world of stories,
where they lived happily ever after. Look for The Treasure at the End of the Rainbow for the first of many stories told by the old man and the child within him.